Hi there, seniors. This is your host, and today's topic is very important for seniors to know, because it has to do with eating certain vegetables that you must never eat. And if you add these 3 special vegetables, it will help you greatly with your joints, your energy, and so much more. So make sure to watch this entire video all the way through. Also, please tap the like button below before you leave. If you got some value out of this video or you think others might, please share this with them. Seniors, I want you to never eat these 3 vegetables: potatoes, sweet potatoes, and carrots. Now, these are very common vegetables that most people enjoy eating. And you can get them in different forms. You can get sweet potatoes, you can get baked potatoes, mashed potatoes. But I'm telling you, as a doctor who specializes in hormones and anti-aging, you need to stay away from these 3 vegetables. Let me tell you why. No. 1. Let's talk about the potato first. The potato is one of the highest sources of oxalates. What is an oxalate? It's a natural chemical, but when you consume too much of it, it starts creating little stones in your kidneys. It gets lodged in between your joints, and it actually starts irritating your joints. And this is why many people that consume a lot of potatoes, especially white potatoes, they have this creaky back, or they have pain in their joints. And then they say, well, it has to be because of my old age. No, it's because you're consuming too many potatoes. Okay. Now you may not just have an allergy to potatoes, but you may have what's called a sensitivity to potatoes. All right. And so you have to find ways to counter this sensitivity. One way is to cook your potato with a little bit of vinegar. Vinegar will neutralize some of the oxalates. You can also cook it with turmeric, or you can cook it with coriander or cumin. Any of these spices will actually neutralize some of the oxalates. And you can also eat your skin on the potato. The skin of the potato also helps neutralize some of the oxalates, but I still would unrecommend you to consume a lot of potatoes, because you can get the same nutrition from other vegetables that do you and have oxalates. All right? Now, no. 2. Corn. Corn is another vegetable that you must avoid, because corn, first of all, is considered a grain. It's a carbohydrate. But corn has something called lectins. Okay? Lectins is a protein that creates inflammation in your gut. And if you have a leaky gut, it can trigger all sorts of allergies and autoimmune diseases. Some of the symptoms that you would notice if you're consuming too much corn is bloating, gas, abdominal discomfort after you eat corn. So you need to avoid things like corn chips, anything that has corn flour, corn starch, etc. Corn syrup, by the way, is probably one of the worst things for your body. It's extremely high on the glycemic index, so it really causes blood sugar problems, especially in pre-diabetic and type 2 diabetic patients. So you must avoid corn. Okay, and no. 3. Another vegetable that you must avoid is beet. Now, beets have oxalates as well. Okay? They also have something called nitrates, which can turn into nitrites, are associated with cancer. And I'm going to show you some studies on that. Now here's the problem with beets. A lot of people like to eat them raw. If you eat raw beets, you're going to have a lot of problems with oxalates and nitrates. However, if you cook your beets or steam them, the nitrates go away and the oxalates kind of neutralize a little bit. But personally, I would recommend that you stay away from beets, because you can get the nutrition from other vegetables that you aren't have oxalates and nitrates, and so you do not want to develop a sensitivity to beets, because it can create real problems down the road. Now that we talked about those 3 vegetables that you should never eat, let's talk about 3 vegetables that you should start adding to your diet, especially if you have joint pain. If you're feeling tired and you're over 50 years old, no one. The first vegetable that you should add is celery. Celery is one of the best foods that you can consume for boosting your immune system. Here's the interesting thing about celery. Did you know that celery has a very low amount of potassium? Well, if you have a low potassium in your body, your cortisol tends to go higher and higher and higher, especially if you're stressed out. Okay, cortisol is a stress hormone. Cortisol usually counteracts the effect of insulin. If you have a low level of potassium, you'll tend to have higher levels of insulin, which can then create inflammation in your body. So what happens when you're stressed out? Your cortisol goes up, and cortisol normally counters insulin. But if you're already low in potassium, then that doesn't work. So you need foods that are rich in potassium. Celery is one of the best foods that has a good amount of potassium that will counteract the stress hormone called cortisol. That's why when you feel stress, you want to chew on some celery, or better yet, blend it up in a smoothie, put it in salads, put it in soups, but don't cook it. It's much better if you eat it raw. Okay, the next vegetable that you need to start consuming is broccoli. Now, broccoli has something called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is one of the best natural anti-cancer compounds. It will prevent cancer from developing. It will help your liver detoxify toxins. It will even kill off cancer cells. Now, if you have cancer, don't use broccoli as your main therapy, but broccoli is such an amazing vegetable. And if you have cancer, you definitely want to consume broccoli. But broccoli is also great for helping you lose weight, especially visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat surrounding your organs. It's more dangerous than subcutaneous fat, which is the fat underneath your skin. Broccoli has something called sulforaphane that helps you lose visceral fat. Broccoli also has something called indole 3-carbinol. Indole 3-carbinol helps you balance your estrogen. So if you're a female and you're menopausal or you're postmenopausal, meaning that you have hot flashes and night sweats, and you're trying to sleep but you keep waking up, you have vaginal dryness, you have brain fog, depression, anxiety, irritability. These are symptoms of estrogen dominance. If you eat broccoli, it will help you balance your estrogen, because it has something called indole 3-carbinol that will help you balance your estrogen. Sulforaphane in broccoli will also help you with detoxification, especially if you live in a polluted area. So the air that you breathe in, the water that you drink, the food that you eat, all have toxins. And toxins tend to accumulate inside your body. As you get older, your detoxification organs, like your liver, your kidney, your lungs, become weaker. So you have a harder time getting rid of these toxins. Toxins can build up and create inflammation in your joints and cause you to feel tired, cause you to gain weight, cause you to have foggy brain and a lot of other issues. So broccoli will help you detoxify. And the third vegetable that you want to start consuming is garlic. Garlic is one of the most powerful natural antibiotics. It's antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and it will destroy parasites. So if you feel like you have a cold or the flu coming on, start consuming a lot of garlic. Take like 2 cloves of garlic and mash them up and take it every day and see how fast it will get rid of your cold and the flu. Garlic is one of the best herbs for lowering your blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure and you take a lot of garlic, you will see your blood pressure go down. Garlic also has something called allicin. Allicin helps to lower your cholesterol, especially lowering LDL, which is bad cholesterol. So, if you have high cholesterol, start taking a lot of garlic and see how fast it will lower your cholesterol. Now, garlic is very unique in the sense that it doesn't taste good when you consume it raw, but when you cook with it, it adds flavor to your food. So there's no problem cooking with garlic. In fact, it's much better. But if you're trying to get rid of something like a cold or the flu or high blood pressure, take it raw. Just mash up a couple of cloves of garlic and take it raw. Okay, but there are some contraindications with garlic. If you have a bleeding problem, okay, and you're taking blood thinners, don't take garlic, because garlic will increase the thinning of your blood. So if you bruise yourself, you will bleed more. So you want to be careful if you're on blood thinners and you're taking garlic. And also, if you have low blood pressure, don't take too much garlic, because it can make your blood pressure go too low. But for most people, especially if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you want to start consuming more garlic, and you can even grow your own garlic. You know, it's so easy to grow garlic, and when you grow your own garlic, you don't have to worry about any chemicals being sprayed on it or anything like that. All right. So those are the 3 vegetables that you never want to eat: potatoes, corn, and beets. And the 3 vegetables that you want to start adding: celery, broccoli, and garlic. Now, if you haven't seen my video on the healthiest vegetable on the planet that has everything, I put that video up right here,